Let's go. Welcome on into the Dingus Den for a brand new episode of the Comic Den. Welcome in, everybody, for we're going to be talking about I Hate Fairyland Volume 1.
I hate
What?
Fairyland.
I hate it so much. And what a read that was. But yeah, we'll be getting on into that just here shortly. And yeah, let's get into it.
Welcome to the Dingus Den.
All right. Welcome in, everybody. I see you all in there. Matthew waiting to get jinky with it. We got Steve number 2, aka Steve Spawn. What's up? What's up, Matthew? What's up, Taco Cat? How is it going? Great to see everybody here, where we got quite the story to talk about.
Yes, we do.
But stay tuned for that here very shortly.
We talked about it very briefly last week.
Even then, I didn't quite know what I was getting myself into until I opened that up, and I'm like, oh, okay, this is what we're doing. So, but yeah. So that'll be cool to get into here in a moment. But before we do, let's just kind of get into what we've been up to. For myself, I think other than this trade, I think I only read one comic issue. And the reason of that is, despite me being out of school now, you remember 2 weeks ago, I think, you were saying that you were hooked on this particular Star Wars novel. That's how it was for me, where any time I spent reading, instead of reading a comic, I went to go to read the Star Wars novel, that Mask of Fear book, rated the Empire Mask of Fear. I've been hooked on it, and I'm like 2/3 of the way through it now, in the matter of like, I don't know, 5 days or something. I've been hooked on that book. So that's why I haven't gotten much comic reading done since last time we talked. I think the one comic I did read was the free comic book day Energon Universe special, which that was really cool. That makes me want to read more Energon Universe stuff. But
yeah,
that's it for me as far as the way of comics goes. I know, very underwhelming, but you know, been distracted.
Man, what did I did end up reading I did read some comic books. I read most of what would have been on my pull list last week, because I went ahead and bought them.
Sure.
I think the only one I haven't gotten around to reading yet was Daredevil number 21, but I read everything else, which includes the Supergirl number 1, the Jedi Knights, Batman Robin, Absolute Batman. And then I reread the book we are going to be talking about.
Yeah, I read all that today, and
because it's been a while since I read the volume 1 of this.
Yeah, it's cool. Yeah, it was. I'm excited to get into it here in a moment. But before we do, let's just talk about what's on our pull list for this week. Because I'm looking at this and I've realized that my comic pull list is a little out of control, as I'm now realizing that it's grown a little bit bigger than what I initially intended it to be. And you know, it's kind of what happens when it's like, oh yeah, I want to collect all of this event, and oh yeah, let's check out this new series. You stick with it for a few issues, but with how much series that there has been just in the last few months alone and stuff going on, I've now look at what my pull list of now of like, oh yeah, because I'm interested in that and that, and then in addition to all the regulars, I'm now looking at it and I'm like, God dang, there's a lot here. So
yeah.
The world of comics, when you really get into it, if you know, you know.
Yeah.
I feel like everybody goes through that every so often. If you're an avid comic reader, like us at least,
Right.
So I'm in that phase though, where I'm like, oh, there's a lot, and I should probably cut it down just a little bit, just so I'm not spending so much every month there.
Too much money, yeah.
It's very easy to go overboard. Anyway, let's talk about what we're looking forward to, though, and why I'm losing all of my money. All right, up first, we have Absolute Flash issue 3. And there it is for you as well. Where, we get more of this Absolute universe. I haven't read issue 2 yet because that's how far behind I am. And so, for reference, I haven't been to my comic store in like 6 weeks, 5 weeks. Other than the free comic book day. And when that happened, I didn't pick up my pull list because they had such a big line of people to check out. And it would have taken them probably like another few minutes to total up my already 4-week stack worth of books. So I was just like, okay, I'll swing back by. I didn't swing back by later that week because that was my finals week. And last week I was just didn't make it happen. So this week I'm going to make it happen. And I have a big stack waiting for me, which is why I'm behind. Well, behind for good reason, because obviously life always comes first, right? So, but point is though, Absolute Flash, that I'm looking forward to it. First issue was good. And if you didn't catch a review of the first issue with me and comic book fan, be sure to go check that out.
Yeah, that one's on my my pull list as well.
One that is actually of all these comics, this is the one that is not on my pull list. Detective Comics.
Yeah, you haven't been reading any of these past the Ram V run?
I've never really gotten into Detective Comics unless if it's maybe an arc or two that's going to be big. Like Black Mirror, I know is one of the few Detective Comics I read. I don't remember. I'm trying to think of what else I would have read. I really haven't read much Detective Comics though.
Okay. Yeah, this is a good run. Tom Taylor is writing it.
Great writer.
Yeah.
Oh gosh.
It's good. I like it.
Yeah, I'm interested in checking it out. See, one of the things I'm thinking about doing is, even though it's a bit of money up front for buying a year of DC Universe Infinite, I'm thinking about getting that, and then that can help me cut off some of the DC titles.
Yeah.
So, but that's like a bigger thing. Like, hey, pay more up front, and then saves a little more later on if I figure out which ones to cut down specifically.
Yeah.
All right. One that's on my pull is World's Finest 39, where it is part 4 of the We Are Yesterday event, where, I'm talking about how far behind I am. How far behind I am, it means that I haven't read any of this event yet, and this is part 4 of that event. And I think there's 5 parts total, so I'll probably just wait to read the last one or wait to read the event when it actually all comes out, like next time I go or something.
Yeah.
But anyway, there's that. I believe he said this one was on yours. New Gods?
No, that's not on mine.
No? Okay. Well, it's on mine. New Gods. That's right. You haven't been reading this, have you?
No.
It's worth checking out, I think. It's interesting. I've enjoyed this one so far. So definitely give this one a read sometime, but definitely not your ordinary DC series, but I think Ram V's been doing a good job with it.
Oh, who's writing it?
Ram V.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So he jumped ship on Detective and then jumped over to...
Yeah, I mean, he's trying, not World's Finest, New Gods.
Oh, New Gods, okay.
Yep. Next we got Superman Unlimited. This is the big DC title of the week. Dan Slott's return to DC.
Heck yeah!
Which, yeah, that's a big thing. Celebrating Summer of Superman. Dawn of the Emerald Era, which this is a big one. This is one that maybe this should be our topic next week, actually. Because this is a big one.
Yeah.
So we could do that. Because I remember in our ideas, I was like, we should do something DC, and this could actually be a really good one to talk about. So
yeah.
Strong possibility that'll be next week. Then we have Spider-Man issue 4. Where I only read the first one. I liked it.
I actually have only read the first one as well, but I have bought 2 and 3.
Yeah.
I just haven't gotten around to reading
Nice.
the other ones yet.
Vatican City issue 2 for me, where I think this is only a 3-issue miniseries. I could be wrong, but that first issue was interesting, so I'll stick it out the rest of the way. And I mean, Mark Miller's good, so
yeah.
it's one of those things that it's like it'll at the very least be good. So
yeah, of course.
yeah. And then because I'm a Spawn nut, in case you didn't know, as we talked about last time,
I think I heard somewhere that you were a big fan of.
I know, right? That's crazy. But anyway, issue 2 of Medieval Spawn, which I think is on my list. This is part of the problem with my poll, is where I think I have this the first and this one will be waiting for me. In addition to the start of a new Spawn Universe series, The Curse of Shirley Johnson, where I believe we talked about this when it got announced, back when we did the news segment.
Sounds familiar, yeah.
Do you remember the kid that Billy Kincaid killed very early in Spawn? Like the first arc of Spawn, like 4, 5, 6 issues in, something like that.
I mean, we're talking a long time ago.
Anyway, there's a little child that gets murdered. Spoilers for an old 90s comic. And this is her being brought back in some weird way, which seems very, very interesting. It's very intriguing and kind of out there, but I'm looking forward to seeing. It's kind of a weird idea that I'm just looking forward to. So, but anyway, there we go. That is our pool. And look at that. Record time of just 10 minutes of us doing this. So, welcome in, Chris. So he's going to hang out until we start a review. Well, funny enough, we're already done with our stuff since we haven't had too much to talk about beforehand. And yeah, definitely going to be not as long of an episode as last week. I'll tell you that for sure.
Yeah, this definitely will not be a spoiler-free.
Yeah, definitely not spoiler-free. But yeah, we'll get right on into at least the first issue, or starting with the first issue, where that's.
I just read the whole trade.
Yeah.
In fact, when I originally read it, I think I just read the first trade, so I don't differentiate between the issues.
Right, but point of, I guess, what I was just saying there is, let's get on into the comic, and we'll talk about this crazy wild comic of
I Hate Fairyland.
I Hate Fairyland. What the story that this is?
Wizard of Oz meets Tank Girl meets Deadpool meets.
Yeah, right.
Something.
Yeah. But yeah, see, that's kind of it's like such a wild, like, unique concept in that, in a way, right? Like, it blends all these ideas of like stuff you're familiar with these typical like lighthearted fantasy settings, and then makes it all bloody, as you can tell from this right here.
Yeah.
And yeah, what a crazy comic this is, of blending in so much violence and so much what do you want to say, just humor into it as well. Like that,
yeah.
There's so many parts of it that I was just like, oh my god, this is so dark but funny at the same time. And one of those moments was in issue 1 here, where there's just so much that gets into it. It's such a crazy story, where we literally see it begin where you have your main person here living her life, having that dream to go to Fairyland, and then what happens is she goes down in there and gets stuck in Fairyland, and there it is. Welcome to Fairyland.
Welcome to Fairyland.
Welcome to Fairyland.
You will never leave again.
Right? Going to be stuck there forever.
Or will she?
Or will she? Who knows? I mean, I'll say I definitely want to read more after, this first bit. What's up, Castro? Welcome in. Talking about I Hate Fairyland Volume 1. See, like this is definitely a page kind of set the tone of the comic, I think, though, because you see like just the imagery of what Scotty Young brings to it of his pencils, and then I don't remember the colorist name too, but the colorist does a great job of making all these colors come together as well. Because that's somebody else.
Yeah, the colorist is. Oh man, I can't remember his name. Hold on.
While you're bringing that up, Matthew had roast for dinner, which sounds fantastic.
All
Taco
right.
Cast adding Little Girl comic book? Because this comic is hilarious and great. So that's why we're talking about it. As this made number 5, if I remember right, on your list last week of great indie comics or favorite indie comics. And I haven't read it, but I own the first 6 volumes of it digitally.
I think the colorist might be Scotty Young.
I thought at the end it credited somebody else,
Well,
but anyway,
maybe it did. I can't find. I'm looking at it on the Image Comics website, and they don't mention a colorist.
See, what I'm thinking of is right at the end here.
That's
the
all right.
Colorist Gene. I am gonna butcher this name, so I refuse to say this name. But with that second name there, he's a colorist that definitely did work on this.
Okay, hang on. I will have this in just a minute because I have another. Yeah, Jean-Francois Bellew.
You said that better than I would have, which is why I didn't want to take a stab at it.
Well, I wonder why Image Comics didn't. Yeah, I had to look it up on League of Comic Book Geeks.
Yeah, I was just looking at it there. It's kind of interesting.
Yeah.
But anyway, back to the issue at hand here. We have this little girl named, was it Gertrude?
Gertrude,
yes, Gertrude. She gets stuck up here in Fairyland, and she gets assigned this little buddy fly there. You can see
the best character of the entire
Larry
comic,
again.
Larry the Fly.
Larry the Fly. Yeah, they're like, oh yeah, so here's a map of all the lands. Go find this key so you can go home after Fairyland captures you.
Larry is great.
Oh yes, Larry. Yeah, I do like Larry. But anyway, her adventure began to go find this key, and it skips ahead 27 years, and where we can see after 27 years, her body hasn't aged.
No, only her mind.
Chris asks, is he a fly or a gnat?
I'm pretty sure he's a fly.
That's what I think so too. Especially, see, I know you're wanting to read more of this, Chris, but there's an issue. I think is it issue 3? I think it's issue 3. There's a certain segment with him. Maybe it's 4. I think it's 3. Sorry, they kind of all blend together because I literally just read all this today as well, all together in the trade. So it's one of those. I know it's around one of those issues though. There's something with Larry that's pretty funny, and yeah, I think you know what part I'm referring to, Steve, right? The time montage. But anyway,
I think so.
But anyway, after all these years, she hasn't aged on the outside, but definitely in the inside of being a little grouchy,
filthy mouthed. Yeah.
Well, that's the funny thing, though, is that you can tell when there's meant to be swear words, but she's not saying the swear words because it's Fairyland.
Yeah.
Saying, "Well, fluff you and fluff this map."
Kind of reminds me of that TV show, The Good Place.
Oh, I haven't watched it. I know what it is though, but I haven't watched it.
Yeah, because every time they try to curse in there, they're not a lot, like it comes out differently.
Yeah.
But so I Hate Fairyland. It began in October 2015. It ran for 20 issues. And then it ended, but then it was revived. There's a revival series that started in November 2020 22.
Right.
Same name, I Hate Fairyland, and it's not like a reboot or anything. It's just a restart. And that so far has gone for 40 issues.
Really? That long?
Yeah, it is.
Do you mean 40 issues total?
I think it might still be going. Hang on, let me.
Well, I know it's still going, but like that didn't seem well. I'd have to look at the issues there, but
Yeah, hang on. Let me find what the current number they're at right now is. Yeah, that might be total. Fuck. I'm gonna have to look at League of Comic Book Geeks again.
take your time. It's definitely a unique comic, and that's definitely part of the big joy of it. Where it's something else, that's for sure.
Yeah. Okay, so that would be February. Okay, so February 12th was issue number 20. June 11th is when the next issue comes out, and it's listed as number 41. What the
Wow.
hell? So maybe so maybe what they're doing, what I'm gathering here is that they like renumbered with the old number
At some point.
at some point. Well, it had to have been because the February 12th issue is number 20.
Right.
There are no issues until June, and that one's numbered 41.
Right. I was about to say that makes sense. Though.
Oh, here it is. Okay, on the 41 it says Scotty and Company revert to legacy numbering.
I was about to say that makes sense because I was looking at. I owned the first 6 volumes, and I noticed that was starting volume 5 is when it gets into that new series.
Yeah.
And so I was like, that makes sense because it'd be the total number of issues there is.
Yeah.
So
anyway, very, very interesting series. I'm just curious, like, what were your overall thoughts on the volume?
overall thoughts. Well, I definitely had a joy reading it. There's definitely several parts that I was just like, oh my god, this is dark, but also great at the same time. Actually, for instance, one of those being, I was literally just about to bring it up here, where the narrator's talking, and Gertrude gets pissed off with the narrator here. So what does she do? Boom! The narrator's dead. Or not dead, but... And he looks dead, but...
He looks dead, yeah.
He looks dead, but it's just like, oh, this is how you're beginning? This is issue 1. And Gertrude, after this time gap, after being sucked into Fairyland, being stuck in this quest for 27 years, and then boom, oh, she just shoots the moon. And it's like, oh my god, this is... Okay, now you have me on board. See, however many pages this was, that's how long it took me to get fully on board with it. Because, until then, it's just set up, and then you do this, and it's like, oh, if this is what the whole series is about, I can get behind with this. And then you just see her not only stop there, but murder a bunch of stars.
Yeah.
Which then smacks into the queen's face. And that's where our entire plot is about here for this first arc, of where the queen's pissed. And so she is now trying to go after Gertrude.
Because at this point, the queen is pissed.
Yeah, the queen's pissed. And she murders. So yeah, like what a way to begin when the main character just murders the night sky. Oh my god.
Yeah.
And I love how they did the whole bit there of everything. It's so crazy. And so what a world. Oh. Witnesses. Yeah. It's crazy of what it is. And so it's like, when you begin like that, it's like, how are you not on board with this? And so, and it doesn't stop from there. Like it just keeps on going throughout all 5 issues.
Yeah.
Like it just keeps on going.
She just keeps killing and killing and killing.
Yeah, killing and killing, exactly.
Such a violent comic, and
it is.
It's
I was like, yeah, blood and gore is your thing. This comic isn't for you. I should have said something beforehand, but hey, now you know. In case you couldn't tell about her shooting out the blood and guts and brains of the moon.
Yeah.
But that's what I like about it. Is I love the art style of it, and I love because Scotty Young is such a unique artist, and he has a style that really lends itself to this world, and it really works. And you're filled here with like all these fantasy tropes and stuff, and like the Queen, like what a fantasy trope that is, right?
Yeah.
But then like you're having this mix of all these different things, or for instance here, where you see like, in a sense, I guess their version of a Mushroom Kingdom with these mushroom guys, and all these different things there. Live nude grubs over there. But maturing up, it's crazy, right? Yeah. Chris says it great right here. Shrooms, violence, gambling, and fairy tales. What else you need?
Exactly.
And so, yeah.
Yeah, I was about to ask what you thought of the art style and the colors.
Yeah, I love it. The colorist did a great job. I can't say his name, but he did a great job at it, contributing his part as well. And so it came together for something special where it's I haven't personally read like what you'd consider as like comedic comics, but I love when blood and gore gets cartoony and like crazy like this. Like like where you just have fun with your blood and guts, like Mortal Kombat, like Mortal Kombat just has fun with its fatalities and stuff. And so,
like you're not going to see too many comic books where an 8-year-old is killing people.
Yes. And that's part of it too, is that's a line that that's something we never see on screen now, that's for sure. Maybe you could have gotten away with it years ago, but not in today's time, I think.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, like that's exactly it though. Of like, what other story is it about where you're talking about like a little child killing things? Like sure you have Chucky, but that's a doll. That's not exactly a little child or whatever stuff like that. So, but even then, this child is just a dick. That's all she is.
Yeah. So now that we're on the subject of Gertrude, Gertie, however you want to. So the question is, Gertrude, anti-hero or complete train wreck?
I would say the latter because of what happens in end of 4, beginning of 5, or in 5. Concerning, the guy, the evil knight guy,
Mm-hmm.
Which that was crazy too. There's a bunch of wild things here, but yes, that would be my answer. Is because of that, I think that's fully what proves that. And she's just a dick to everybody in general, and I think that's a big part of kind of like what makes this special as well. Of like, how many times do you follow a story where somebody's just a genuine dick and not the hero? Like you're following in a sense, arguably the villain of the story.
Pretty much, yeah. I mean, one could say, the closest related character would probably be like Deadpool. But
see,
he's more anti-hero than just complete dick.
I was about to say, like, Deadpool has an objective, and yes, Gertrude has an objective here to get home, but she reads as that like just bratty little kid that nobody liked. Like,
well, put yourself
like
in her place, though.
Yeah,
you've been stuck in this magical fairy world for almost 30 years. You're not aging. And every time you turn around, you can't get to this key you're trying to find.
Right.
I would probably be a little pissed too.
Maybe just a bit.
Like, my question is, why couldn't the queen or whatever she was, why couldn't she just give her the key?
It
I mean,
seems
she's the queen.
so for me when I read it, it seems as if it's a fantasy world, right? I think it's important for every fictional world to follow its own fictional rules or universes, not just worlds, you know. You want every universe to kind of follow its fictional rules, right? And to me, when you later on, spoilers for later on in this, you get into seeing like the secret council that the queen talks to.
Right.
And there they talk about these written rules of Fairyland. And so I think that's their way of saying, these are the written rules of the world that we have established. Now let's abide by these rules. And the rules of this being, there's a person that comes by Fairyland every so often, or there's always one person, or whatever exactly it is there, right?
Right.
And that rule is, the rule there is then that the person that comes in here has to find the key. And so to me, it reads as if, even though they don't explicitly say it, it seems as if the people of Fairyland can't explicitly give the key, is what it seems like to me. That's how I personally read it. So.
Yeah.
I don't know. That's how I thought of it, though. Is I think it has its rules, and even though they didn't explicitly say it during that part, I think that's very much what they were, at the very least, potentially implying.
Yeah.
And so that's how I looked at it. But yeah. But yeah, like the world in it is just very rich and crazy, though, because it has it. You know, when it goes into so many places in just one issue, and this goes across all the issues too, of like, there's a lot that happens journey wise in every issue. Each of the 5 issues of this goes and just it adds more to the world, and obviously they make it too of like, holy crap, look at this giant fantasy world as you see in that first image when they first came in, but then also you see the Mushroom Kingdom and allows for so much violence everywhere, such as actually I had this I wanted to pull up as well. Like, look at that, they're just eating the mushroom people.
Yeah.
That's just crazy. And then from there she starts seeing things with it. Like, the art here is just great with it, so that's really cool. So something I just wanted to highlight there. But
yeah, there's a lot of crazy stuff that happens in this comic book.
Crazy's the very least of it. Or, you know,
well, it's just that's just one way to describe it. It's just not your average comic book.
That's very true, and I think that's part of like what makes this very unique and stand out across all the others, of where you genuinely don't see something really creative like this happen in the spaces with the main 2 publishers of Marvel and DC. Ever rarely do I feel like they push the boundaries, because they play it very safe to get their money. And I'm not saying that their stories aren't great, because, you know, obviously we're both fans of both of those, and, you know, reading a bunch of stuff from both of them. But like, if you want truly unique stories, you have to look elsewhere. An Image, a lot of times, I think, can provide that, and this is one of those where they realize that Scotty Young had such this great, unique idea, and they were like, all right, yes, you can do this. And so, and especially too, and I think this comic really shows the importance of the medium of what comics can do for a story and what the medium of comics can provide for something like this, where I would argue that the only other place that this story could maybe work is an animated show. But other than that, it's like you wouldn't see the story anywhere else.
No.
And even then, it's like, would they even really make this into a show? You know? I mean, it's possible, you know? I think it has something potential to be a show if they really wanted to.
Yeah, I would. That could be a very interesting animated show.
Yeah. And so, like, I think they could, but it's obviously, though, something that I think when you're looking at the crazy visuals of what comics can bring, that's, you know, it just shows, you know, the only limitation at the end of the day is what the artist can draw or what the writer can write.
Right. Yeah.
And when you have Scotty Young going crazy of both of his story and art here, and that's something else that makes this story special, is the vast majority of comics, you don't share the same writer and artist.
Right.
And there's something special to be said when you have somebody that works on both, which is really cool.
Yeah, it's not often that you see that.
Yeah.
So another question I have for you is, did volume 1 hook you? That is, are you planning on reading further?
At some point, I will read further. I don't know if I want to right now, just because it's like I have so much other stuff for reading. But like,
Sure.
It definitely makes me want to read more, though. I did like, though, Volume 1 made it in a way, though, where, and they do this for a lot of, like, any modern series, I think, really does this too, especially if it's new, where it ends it at a place where if it doesn't continue, you're still satisfied with the story. But there's definitely an open door there of like, oh, it's going to be really interesting to see where it's going to go on. And I think it'll be interesting to read more of it and explore more of their land. Like I'm definitely on board for it. Definitely is for something too that's such a fun, lighthearted read as well.
Yeah.
Because it's one of those stories of where I think some comics are kind of harder for me to read at some points. Like, for example, I don't tell me if you're similar for this at all, but like I find it much easier to pick up and read like a more recent written comic book than something from like the 80s. Don't get me wrong, I love so many other comics from the 80s, but it's kind of harder for me to like say binge 6 issues, 5 issues of that than there is something modern.
No, I can relate.
And so point is, I was getting to that though with this though, is that it's definitely something that it's easy to pick up and read, especially if I'm just winning a laugh, you know. And I think it, with how unique this comic is, I think it can help fill a void of something if I'm just wanting something lighthearted and special to read up on. So I definitely read more of it though.
Yeah,
for sure.
So volume 2 picks up after Gertrude has been queen for a year.
Right.
I think volume 1 or volume 2 is called Fluff My Life.
That's funny.
But what's funny is volume 3 is called I Hate Image.
That's funny.
Yeah. It's all about like navigating the Image universe
Oh my god.
in order
It's crazy.
in order to return home. So
That's crazy.
it's a the whole series is good. So I haven't really done much reading of the Revival series. I keep meaning to,
Sure.
but I haven't got around to it.
Yeah.
So most of my reading is from the first series.
Yeah, I do so I own up to volume 6. I know volume 7 is the most recent, which collects like 11 through 15, and they don't have a volume out yet collecting the what would be if you did legacy numbers 36 through 40 yet.
Yeah.
But then they have like some Tales of the Fairyland or Untold Tales of the Fairyland. Do you know what that is? Because I looked at it because I was looking at Amazon on their like total read list. They have 7 volumes and then something else there.
I think that might be a spinoff.
Right. Yeah, or like I figured it was like some sort of spin-off thing of it. But point is though, is I have everything except for volume 7, which very recently came out, and whatever the spin-off is.
But I also think that maybe, if I'm remembering right, the I Hate Image is not part of the main series.
Oh, okay.
It's still in the same like time frame. She's still stuck in. Spoiler alert, everybody! She's still stuck in Fairyland. But she is. Yeah, she interacts with other Image characters. She like some of the characters that are in that series, or that actually it might just be one book.
Oh, here's something really cool.
She interacts with Spawn and Savage Dragon and Southern Bastards and The Walking Dead, among others.
Holy crap! I'm gonna have to read that. I was just looking into these different I Hate Fairyland stuff, and something I want to share here is look at this. They have a compendium for the original series. So the original 20 issues and the Free Comic Book Day 2017 special, and its list price is $35, and that's freaking awesome. That's an awesome deal here.
Yeah, I think if you can't afford that, I want to say that it's on Hoopla.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of ways.
Maybe it used to be, but no, the compendium is on Hoopla.
Nice.
So yeah, it's if you're poor like some of us, you can find it on Hoopla, which basically ties into your local.
Oh, so the I Hate Image, it looks like it was a one shot.
Yeah.
Okay, I see it now.
But yeah, you see there. Oh wait, go back up. I think it actually lists the characters that she interacts with.
See everybody, so everybody can see this. But yeah,
Saga,
The
Walking Dead,
Savage Dragon, Spawn, Descender, Black Science, Southern Bastards of Any Mother, and most of these the only one of these, I haven't read Saga, but I know what it is. I've read a little bit of Walking Dead. The only one of these I'm not familiar with what it is Southern Bastards.
Southern Bastards was a book written by now I gotta look it up. I want to say it's Ed Brubaker.
Steve
no, it's not. Jason Aaron.
Steve number 2 said these titles are insane. Yes, they are. It's crazy.
Yeah. No, Jason Aaron wrote Southern Bastards.
Gotcha.
And yeah, if you've never read that, Spencer, you should actually check that out as well. Southern Bastards is pretty interesting as well. It's kind of
something else to add to my long list.
Exactly. Yeah.
I can read the first volume for free here. Look at that.
There you go. Yep. Yes, agreed, Steve Spawn. They are very strange titles,
Yeah.
and it
Yeah.
doesn't get any less violent or any less irreverent. It's yeah, it's Gertrude.
It's Gertrude.
It's Gertrude. She's one crazy little 8-year-old / 40-year-old. Uh,
Right.
yeah.
I definitely want to bring up some specific moments just because it's like, holy crap, this is how crazy things get. One thing that I love, for instance, here is we saw the moon being killed, and we see this several times throughout this volume of an injured moon that you can see in the background there.
Mm-hmm.
Which I like seeing that detail constantly. He's always angry, rightfully so, but like,
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean,
I found that funny. And then every issue pretty much opens up in a unique way of like, oh, here, let me tell you this fantasy story. You know, your classic fantasy narrator. You know, like how Shrek opens up or something like that. You know, how all these fantasy stories opens up, and then splat, dead. And that's just how it opens, as you see this menacing barbarian, and then Gertrude just kills him, and the head's here for a little bit in this issue.
yeah.
And that's what each issue has some sort of gimmick it opens with, like that.
Mm-hmm.
And it's great. Each one of those is just like, okay, that's great. And so it just has fun with itself, and so much of it. There's one joke here. Hold on. I'm trying to see if I can find this joke that I really liked in particular. Oh, I like these pages. Or this sequence here was really cool. I really like this art in particular.
Oh, yeah.
Chop, slice, splat, splat. Yeah. So much of this is interesting, Taco Cat. It's such a crazy title. Where is it? Hold on. There's a particular... Is it right at the beginning of it? I'm trying to find this joke here with... Okay, I don't remember where it is, but you see this whole situation where they end with them being surrounded by all these zombie fawns.
Yeah.
And at one point they call it Fawn of the Dead, and I'm like, oh my gosh. That had me for a moment. And look, there's again the moon's angry up there. He's like smiling. I'm like, oh yeah, look, you're finally screwed. But nope.
Nope.
Yeah, Fawn of the Dead. I don't remember where that joke was, but I thought that was funny in particular.
No, I remember that joke. It was
There's some funny. There's definitely some funny bits in it. That's for sure.
Yeah.
The Queen's a dick in her own ways as well. Oh, this was interesting, is you see this forest here of like these pink trees and whatnot. Yeah. And I like this in particular because it reminded me a bit of like Dr. Seuss and that sort of world with like, that's what these trees look like to me. So I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah.
So like you can definitely tell that so much of this fantasy world of different inspirations in different places. So I like that. Oh, this was the fly bit I was talking about right here, where she falls and she gets knocked out. We don't know exactly for how long. And we literally see Larry just live his life here. He builds a house.
Yeah, builds a house.
Expands on it.
Her hair is growing.
Yeah. It's so funny. It's like, okay. That's such a funny little time gimmick.
Yeah.
And then we get into the Queen's plan of how to kill her there.
Yeah, and then this is around the time that Happy shows up.
Yep, Happy's right there too. And so that's pretty funny.
And she thinks that Happy is the Queen thinks Happy is her fix for killing Gertrude.
What's funny is Happy gave me like full on Powerpuff Girl vibes, especially when she does this last year. And I was like, oh my gosh, it's so funny. It's like an annoying, or even more annoying, depending on how you view Powerpuff Girls, Powerpuff Girl. And so, yeah, it was funny. The whole idea of, well, if we let in a second person, Gertrude could be stuck here.
Yeah.
Thus allowing the queen to actually kill her. That's the purpose of what the queen wanted, was a way to kill her.
But then we see, spoiler alert again, at the end, Gertrude becomes queen. Because she kills the queen. And the rules say, if you kill the queen, you become queen.
Exactly. And that's the whole thing that I was kind of like talking about earlier, with your key question of like, there's all these rules that the world has set.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I really like this bit as well. With the when you're looking, she talks to the night dude up here. I'll show that here, so everybody can see it. Where she talks to this night dude, and he's like the big evil guy of the land.
Yeah.
And this is what I found funny, and he's the reason why I was saying earlier, like, yeah, she's just a genuine dick, because when you get into this guy who's being the big evil thing, she has this trial to do where there's this, this thingy that pops up. You're like, oh, I didn't think that you wouldn't be this bad, and then it's this monstrosity, which is just crazy.
Mm-hmm.
And then you get into the next issue, which I really like as well, where I found it funny of where you get this montage of her killing the bosses, and literally the word she uses with it here is that each boss was more evil and more bossier than the last.
Yeah.
And so just it's funny. It's a fun read.
Yeah, it is.
But yeah, as we said, though, it ends with Gertrude killing the queen, and she's now stuck there. So I think it'll be fun to see where that goes for sure. Definitely gonna check that out.
Mm-hmm.
It's very fun for sure.
Yeah, I may reread the whole compendium.
Yeah, like I have everything in that compendium that it includes, so I definitely would like to.
Yeah.
At least at some point, even if I don't get to it right away. So.
Yeah, I'll probably start tonight.
Fair enough. Yeah, I don't know. We'll see. I'll get to something. I think right now, I don't know what my next comic reads. I'm probably gonna catch up on all the stuff I bought physically before going back to it. That's the thing, is I have such a big stack, and I want to try to knock through a good bit of it over the summer. So that's gonna be my main goal. So.
Yeah.
Especially, actually, my goal is I want to finish that Star Wars novel before I go to the comic store, because then I could just be like, okay, I can focus through all my main reads, and I can get through all the stuff I bought at New Comic Book Day or Free Comic Book Day, and then go at my stack from there. So that's I'm gonna try to get a bit done over the summer, hopefully. Set aside some. There's more times in general for me to read, maybe even have some more reading days than getting caught up with gaming, because I also find that when I have all this free time, I find myself also just getting distracted with other stuff than reading sometimes. So
yeah,
it happens. The wheel of life, right? So, but there we have it. I Hate Fairyland. Definitely a bit of a shorter episode, but still a good one, as we talk about such a wild comic, to say the very least. But yeah, it was a good one. Thank you everybody who tuned in. It's been a good one. Be sure to subscribe here if you like what you see. Hit that like button, and all that stuff. Be sure to go follow Steve at Rebel Nerd Radio. What are you going to be doing on Tuesday's stream?
Tuesday we're going to be talking about the final story arc of Andor.
Excellent.
So
that make you want to go rewatch Rogue One right after?
I will be doing that pretty soon anyway, because I think JD and I are prepped for yet another Rogue One recap episode.
I was about to say, it's like you got to do another Rogue One episode after that Andor finale.
Yeah. So we got a plan to do that. Yeah.
That's awesome. Excellent. Yeah. So be sure to go check out Rebel Nerd Radio. Link down below. Link down below for all my Twitch stuff as well. Me and Blue's actually been doing some stuff on Twitch yesterday and the day before. We're doing a fun bit of stuff over there.
Yeah, you guys were doing a D&D thing, weren't you?
So yeah, we were doing. So I was doing kind of like a tech test one shot in a way, I guess you could call it, that Blue was running on a Friday.
Okay.
So it was a dungeon crawl one shot that Blue ran. Where I'm very glad I decided to do that because there's a big technical difficulty where my audio wasn't coming through properly. But point is, though, that's the whole point of it. Is like I said, it was a tech test to allow me to try to figure out to get it set up properly on Twitch. Because the reason is next week, or actually, I guess technically this week. I don't know how you view it if Sunday is part of the week or whatever. You know what I'm saying. Anyway, point is Friday. This upcoming Friday, I'm going to be running part one of a D&D campaign that I'm starting up. Where I actually was starting to run it, but I wasn't airing it. But then somebody left. But they kind of left at a perfect point where for somebody to leave is a perfect point. So where I was like, okay, let's stop this for a couple weeks. Chris is now joining us. So we now have a party to play again. And it's led me to be like, okay, well, let's now stream it. So it's like a part one of a I don't want to call it a reboot because like what we're doing beforehand is still accurate, but it's at a point where it's a good jumping on point. So for everybody, it's a part one, but then there's definitely stuff that came before that. I have audio for that will be released at some point, although I might have to edit some of that audio or whatever. But
yeah, Blue started running his Cyberpunk game also, and that is, well, if you are a patron of Rebel Nerd Radio, you can watch it on the Patreon.
Yeah.
If you are not, sorry for you, become a patron. I don't know what else to tell you.
Blue also ran, I know it's planning to be a 5-part adventure, a Legend of Zelda D&D homebrew on last night.
You never told me about that.
Yeah, we did that. We also streamed that on Twitch. And the full video is up there to watch for free. So go to Dingus Den Twitch. It's actually the last stream up there unless I end up going live. No, I'll probably end up going live tomorrow. I'm probably not going to do anything today on Twitch. But it was very interesting, though, because it's a D&D homebrew. Are you familiar? Zelda homebrew. Are you familiar with Zelda that much?
A little bit.
Okay, so I'll tell you the party here really quick. We have a Goron bard. You know, Gorons are like the rock people that like live up in the mountain. And you then we have a Zora artificer. And I play as a Deku rogue. You know, the little wood people?
Yeah.
His name's Doot, where all I can say is Doot because he's a Deku. So that's why everyone calls him Doot. And he is so fun because he's like a little chaotic rogue. That's fun
times.
Doot was the highlight. That's all I'm gonna say is Doot was the highlight of that. Sorry to everybody else, not really, but you know. I had this idea and Blue's like, okay, sure. It's great. So but yeah, go check out the Dingus Den Twitch. That was a lot of fun.
Cool.
In addition to whatever gaming I do there as well. So, and I'm trying to think of what else I have coming up. I don't know if we're doing it this week or next week. Probably next week, but I could be wrong. Me and Ro are going to be talking about Darth Maul, son of Dathomir, over on Scarif Podcast, so be sure to check that out. Or start our series over that, because I think we're going to go through it issue by issue again. And then, what else do we got? And there's one other thing I had in mind. Oh, I think I'm going to be doing some comic reviews over on Master Swag King channel, where I had my first appearance on there Thursday last week, and I think we're going to be trying to do some weekly comic book reviews over there. So stay tuned for if that's happening this week or not. Follow Dingus Den socials, where you'll find out wherever I am. Links down below for all that stuff. But anyway, thank you all, everybody, for tuning in. And I'll see you next time here in the Dingus Den. Specifically, I guess the comic den for because we'll be doing sounds like Superman Unlimited. Stay tuned. Or if there's a change of plans, you'll know first.
Yeah.
So you'll know first if you follow the Dingus Den. Anyway, I'll see you all later. Bye, everybody.